What's up, boys? It's the Dual Faction once again with another video, and this is the third deck profile that I have for you this week, as I promised on the Facebook page. Funny story, I actually had this profile already ready to go and uploaded and ready to go, but I apparently forgot to hit publish, and then when I came home from work the following day, the file was corrupted, and I wasn't able to publish for it. So this is actually my second go-through recording this for you. But the third profile for this week is my second fun deck, and it is Mekk-Knight Invoked. Any of you that have been following the channel for a while now, you know this is actually one of my favorite. This is actually my favorite deck to be released since Fusion Enforcers was the set that was released. And from Fusion Enforcers all the way up till now, this is still my favorite archetype that's been released. I still believe the best way to play it is with the Mekk-Knights currently right now. And if Sky Striker honestly wasn't a deck, I think this deck would be really good right now. But it's really hard for it to play through Sky Striker. It's hard to play through multiple negations like Widow Anchor and whatnot. And decks like Thunder Dragon don't make it any better because it's really hard for this deck to play through Colossus. And another thing that has like this going against this deck for it, honestly, is the fact that like Droll, it loses to every single hand trap in the format currently. There's not an exception, hand trap or anything like that. It just loses all to them. But I'm playing it for fun at a local level. Me and my buddy put a lot of theory behind this deck because it's also one of his favorite decks. But enough about that. We'll just go ahead and get into it. So, starting off, we'll start with the Mekk-Knights. You play 3 copies of Purple Nightfall. This is the best one. For those of you who don't know what it does, it's Wind Up Rabbit and Wind Up Factory in the same card. It searches by banishing any Mekk-Knight on the field, including itself, so you can just use it to dodge a lot of effects and get your searches. And then we play 2 copies of Blue Sky. This one searches cards for as many cards in the same column as your opponent has. One Indigo Eclipse, this is one that moves monster zones, and then we're playing one Mekk-Knight Avram. It's a vanilla that you send off Brilliant Fusion for combos. So that's it for the Mekk-Knight part. On to the Invoked part. The only Invoked monster that you play is 3 copies of Alistair the Invoker. You just want to see him. You want to be able to normal summon this card every turn. You want to be able to be searching Invocation every turn. You just want to keep your engine going the entire time. And then the only other monster we play that's not a hand trap is Gem Knight Lazuli. We play this for Brilliant Fusion. Let me see here. That should work a little bit better. But, yeah, you just play it for Brilliant Fusion. You play this one over Garnet. Yeah, you play it over Garnet because you want to be able to add Mekk-Knight Avram back from one of the combos on the deck. But that's it for that. Then for the only monster hand trap, we're only playing 3 Ash Blossom. It's the most generic one, plus it being a fire attribute is really important because you can make Purgatorio. As many of you know, I really cannot get these. I guess that'll work best. But yeah, 3 copies of Ash Blossom, most generic one, lets you make Purgatorio, so on and so forth. Then onto the spells, we play 3 copies of Desires. It says draw 2. You really need the free pluses in this deck. And honestly, you don't really care about what you banish, but it is what it is. It's necessary to play in this deck. 3 copies of Meltdown. It's just essentially 3 more copies of Alistair. Plus, this turns off one of the hand traps and Bell, so that's really important. Only 2 copies of Terraforming because we can only play 2, but it's like I said, it's really important to see Alistair. This could change. I'm only playing 2 copies of Invocation just because out of personal preference I only like 2. But you could make the argument for 3 because of how many hand traps your deck loses to. Sometimes you just need to straight draw this. So we're probably going to bump that up to 3 in the future, but for now we're playing 2. 3 copies of the aforementioned Brilliant Fusion. It's really good in this deck. It gives you a going first play, which is really important because it helps you make a column. There's not much more to say about that. Card's impact on the deck is really big. 3 copies of Instant Fusion. It's really important to be able to clear Colossus off your board, so that way you're able to play the game. Plus, this card also makes a column, which is really important. Because it summons Thousands I Restrict, and whatever Thousands I Restrict takes, you, like I say, you just make a column. But it's really important to play it. Plus, it also has the added benefit of also being able to summon Raijin out of your deck, and Raijin's a really powerful card, so we have that too. For non-engine cards or anything like that, we play 2 Call by the Grave and 2 Twin Twister. You need to be able to stop the hand traps from killing your deck, and this needs to be able to blow away a silly back row that your deck loses to. And then the one of searchables for your extra deck monsters, we play 1 World Legacy Succession and 1 The Book of the Law. Succession is really cool because it brings back Bakabas and stuff like that. Book of the Law just lets you kill your opponent and it's searchable. And then for the hand traps, we play 3 copies of Impermanence. You need to be able to turn off Colossus and be able to play the game. Same theory with World Legacy Secret. This is searchable through Mekk-Knight Morningstar. But the cool thing about this is you can search it going first, especially with Brilliant Fusion and Purple Nightfall, and you can set up multiple negates on your opponent. So that is it for the main deck. It is 40. And then we will go ahead and get to the extra deck. As you already know. For the fusions, we played 2 Macabre. You don't need any more, any less of this. Three's never. The game's never going to last long enough for 3 to come up. We play 1 copy of Purg, because you're only selling this when you're going for game, and like I said, you're playing 1 copy of Raijin. One thing to note about Raijin is the popularity in Joan Lockbird coming up, so it's actually important to have a wind monster you can summon. And then the other fusions are Thousands I Restrict and Seraphonite. On to the Link monsters. 1 Link Karibo, 1 Land for Fornicus. It's actually really important to have a generic 2 to go into sometimes. That's not Mekk-Knight Morningstar or Alistair the Meltdown Invoker, because sometimes you're not in a situation where you can make that, but you can make this, and it's also a light monster, so that's really important. Phoenix Clear Back Row. Underclock Taker is actually really lit with Purgatrio, as many of you know. Alistair and the Invoker, this is game. Mekk-Knight Morningstar is really good. We're playing Decode Talker. Sometimes you just need to be able to make a Decode Talker and kill your opponent. Like, that's literally what it is. Unicorn for generic removal, and then Borstar Dragon to kill your opponent. And that was my Mekk-Knight Invoked deck profile for you guys. Tell me what you guys think. I'm always open up to suggestions or theory about this deck, because it's, like I said, it's a deck that's, the Invoked engine itself is just near and dear to my heart. There's a St. Louis Regional coming up in the next couple weeks. Maybe I play this deck. Like I said, because the format's so stale, and if we don't get a new ban list, I mean, there's no reason not to. But that is it. That's that. Always remember to like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully I'll have some more matches for you recorded for this weekend and have them up next week. So on and so forth. But as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.